Hello. Hey. Nice to see you here, and probably will wait for some time for the others to join. Hello and welcome. Please let me know if you can hear me well and if you can see the presentation correctly. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks, George. Well, let's wait for some more time so others can join us, and then we'll proceed with the main topic. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks, Pavel. So, hello everyone again, and welcome to this webinar. Probably would wait for some more minutes and then we'll start. So right now it's 9 of us, and I hope it would be at least 10. So just to make sure it's like rounded figure, rounded number. Oh, wonderful. It's 11 of us already, and well, let's wait for another minute and then we'll start. Okay, probably we should get started. I hope that everyone's hearing and seeing me well. As far as I can see from the chat, everything's good. So let's get started, shall we? And today's webinar is dedicated to the topic about the Global Talent Visa and how you, as a specialist working at Meta currently, can obtain this visa and I don't know, make any your life decisions way easier than it used to be with your skilled worker visa, with your current visa. So let's get started. And probably first of all, I would like to tell you about the, historic perspective of Global Talent Visa. So historically speaking, the United Kingdom has always been friendly, a friendly country for any kinds of visitors who are talented and capable of doing some things, for talented specialists, etc. So, and Global Talent Visa is probably one of the inventions of the UK government, UK immigration policy that puts the boundaries of being a talented individual in the UK even further. Probably you already know about all the benefits living in the UK, about living in this thriving digital economy within the UK, because you currently work at Meta, and many of you probably came to Meta from different countries of origin. So probably you understand already what benefits you could fetch from living in the UK. So Global Talent Visa, it's just probably even better tool to do all the stuff you always wanted to do in the UK, but you were kind of obligated to to work at only one place. You need just to follow the immigration visa rules, follow a skilled worker visa rules. One more thing before we start the general topic. If you have any questions, you can ask them right away in the chat. At the end of the webinar, there will be a Q&A session during which I will answer all the questions you have. So speaking about Global Talent Visa, so Global Talent Visa is, as it was presented on the slide sheet, is essentially residence permit that guarantees your complete freedom of action. It's probably the thing I enjoy the most about this visa, because you can do mostly anything you want. You can work and change your employers. You can start your own business. You become an entrepreneur. You can start freelancing. You can enroll in some British university, and then you can apply for an ILA and then obtain a UK passport. So all of this stuff you can do actually simultaneously, and you can do it whilst you are working at Meta. You can start your own business, and there's no problem at all with it, because you basically become a genuinely free individual within the UK, within the country. So the question is clear: why the Global Talent Visa? Why don't I choose, skilled worker visa, startup visa, innovator visa? Probably you already know something, because many of you already are in the UK, and you are there because of the skilled worker visa. So you probably know about all the advantages and disadvantages of this visa. So Global Talent Visa probably surpasses all the disadvantages you could have with the skilled worker visa. First of all, you can easily change your employers. Then you can start your own business, as I said. And to obtain Global Talent Visa, you don't need to have a job offer. You don't need to show that you have some level of English proficiency. And all of us know that IELTS and some other tests of English proficiency are quite tricky. So when it comes to actually pass them, I can say for sure from my own perspective and from my own experience. So you don't need this. You don't need to show any level of sufficiency of your funds, of money in your account. And also you don't need to show any kind of business plan, any kind of like formulated aspirations why you need to join the UK digital economy. So probably that's one of the best things to know about the Global Talent Visa. Also, as I said, Global Talent Visa is probably the fastest route to the UK passport. I mean, the fastest route, taking into account that you can change your employers and don't freak out about, oh my God, I need to change my employer. I would like to change my employer, but I need to think about my visa, my work visa, not to expire soon enough so I can find a new employer and make him grant me a new work visa. With the Global Talent Visa, you don't have this problem. You can easily change your employers at any time, or do any kind of side gig, pet projects simultaneously with working at some corporation. So you can achieve an ILR, so indefinite leave to remain, and British citizenship with the Global Talent Visa. And let me just tell you how you can do it. And to understand that, we need to break down this Global Talent Visa into two groups. So the first group of Global Talent Visa, the first category of Global Talent Visa, is an exceptional talent, and the second one is an exceptional promise. So what's the difference between those two? The first difference, actually the first and probably foremost difference between those two, is that you can get an ILR, so it's basically a permanent residence permit in the UK. You can get it only after 3 years of 3 years spending in the UK. So, and also probably, being proactively tackling some of your questions. Yes, the time you've already spent in your skilled worker visa in the UK will also be taken into account when calculating your time for ILR, if you meet some criteria, which I will tell you about just in one slide. With the exceptional talent visa, you can get an ILR in only 3 years, and after that, you can get an ILR. You can get a British passport in only 2 years after that. So, basically speaking, you get an exceptional talent type of Global Talent Visa. After that, you spend 3 years in the UK and meet one crucial criterion. You need to spend at least half a year each year of these 3 years. So if you spend this half a year, if to be particular, it's 180 days each year. So you need to spend 180 days each year of within 3 years, and then you get an ILR. When you got an ILR, you need to spend another 2 years to get a British passport. If you want to make it as straightforward as possible, you need to spend not as much as 90 days outside the UK each year after you obtain the Global Talent Visa. Because if you spend only 90 days outside the UK each year, you can basically obtain a British passport in 5 years. So for the British passport, the regulations are more obligatory and are more strict. And in terms of ILR, you need to spend only half a year within the UK each year. And for an exceptional promise, it's probably the same, but you need to understand that you get an ILR only after 5 years of spending time in the UK, and then in 1 year after that, you can get a British passport. So once again, you obtain the Global Talent Visa or exceptional promise subcategory, and then you need to spend 5 years living in the UK for at least half a year each year, and then you get an ILR. If you want to make your route for British citizenship as fast as possible and as straightforward as possible, you need to, after obtaining a Global Talent Visa with the exceptional promise subcategory, you need to live in the UK. Not live. You need to live outside the UK for as much as 90 days each year, not more. And then you can obtain a British passport easily. So that's basically the idea. And as I said, if you're already on a skilled worker visa in the UK, probably, I don't know, you spent already 1 year in the UK and you didn't spend as much as 90 days outside the UK this year, this very year will be included in this calculation of 3 years to get an ILA, and will be included in this calculation of 5 years to get a British passport if you obtain a global talent visa. Hope this calculation is not really is not really confusing for you. So if you have any questions, please just write in the chat and I will answer them during the Q&A session. So one of the questions you really requested for us to kind of break down for you and explain is about who's eligible for this visa. And actually, there is a wide range of people, of specialists in the IT industry, in the tech industry, who are eligible for this visa. So you can be either a technical specialist or a business specialist. You still can apply for this visa. So either you are a data scientist or genuine software developer, or maybe you are some kind of a project or product manager. You can still apply for this visa. But the idea of your application will be quite different. So let me break it down to you. So there won't be, I hope, so much confusion about this matter. So when we talk about technical specialist, the main stress within the documents in the application should be on the technical details of your contributions, of your positive impact on the development of some products within your company. And when you are a business specialist, there is actually quite the same requirement, but you just need to focus on the technical details, on the technical aspects of your products and projects you led or managed, and how you contributed it, how you, for instance, created a new strategy or new vision for your project or product. And most of all, you need to know some metrics and any kind of numerical evidence of your success, of your project success. So basically speaking, when you're a business specialist, please don't try to stress on team management and people management challenges within your application, because we need to show that you are some kind of exceptional, some kind of a talented specialist. But just please follow this idea. You can't show that you are a talented specialist, even if you are a product manager, only by showing how wonderful or how highly skilled people manager you are, how skillfully you, created a team, or making some kind of a hiring plan and hired a beautiful, wonderful data scientist to help you out. It's not really the case here. Here, you need to show that you somehow contributed to the development of your product, and you contributed by means of, as I said, producing a strategy for the product, producing some project plan, providing some unconventional ideas how to present this product to the customer, or maybe how to evaluate the metrics of the success of this product. So even if you are a product or project manager, or maybe marketing expert, or maybe any kind of business specialist within the digital tech sphere, you need to make your contributions deeply connected to some tech inside of the product you manage. So that's basically the idea. Again, thanks for your questions. I will answer them right away in the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. Just stay tuned. So, probably the most vital question of this webinar: who is a global talent? Am I eligible? Am I good enough? First of all, please just try to, pause down your imposter syndrome, because most of us working in tech, we are kind of we're exposed to this syndrome, and we need to get over it in terms of global talent visa, because actually you don't need to be, as you can see on the slide sheet, you don't need to be a Nobel Prize winner. You don't need to be one of a kind developer, just one person in the world who can create this code, or who can come up with some kind of a strategy. If we talk about a business applicant, you don't need to be this person. You need to be a decent specialist with some successful projects in the background, about which you can tell in your documents for the application. So that's the idea. And again, let's just have our friend Alex as an example. So this is a person who works at a product-led digital tech company, and all of you definitely work there, so it's not a problem at all, so you can just forget about it. Then this friend, this man, Alex, he has developed some innovative products about innovations and about how we can actually explain innovations and what is an innovation for the Global Talent Visa. I will tell you shortly in several slides. Next thing, you need to show some specific metrics that demonstrating your contributions to the IT, to your company, to your specific product, and so on. As I said previously, you need to have this numerical evidence of your success. And it doesn't need to be like outstanding success across all big corporation. No, not at all. You can show it. You can show your maybe comparatively small success, little success, but still by showing these metrics, you can prove that you are a successful specialist. You lead some projects, or you work on some projects, and you make them successful. And that's the idea of the Global Talent Visa. That's the idea and the main goal of all the documents you create to apply for a Global Talent Visa. So, and several next things, you need to know several leading industry experts. Again, we're not talking about Bill Gates. We're not talking even about Mark Zuckerberg. We talk about your skip managers at your work. We talk about some colleagues and some friends working in tech on some good positions, who can recognize some of your qualities and values as a professional. So maybe, I don't know, you've met some person at the conference, I don't know, let it be like any kind of conference. It can be high load, or it can be but basically any tech conference, you know, so it can be MWC or maybe something else. So you can meet some person who is actually good, also a decent specialist, and he can recognize your achievements, at least by telling that, oh yeah, I've known this person from a while ago, and I've heard they developed some kind of a product, and I think it's quite outrageously beautiful. And that's the idea of knowing these leading experts. About public profile, I've heard that that was one of the questions you wanted also me to answer. So without any public profile, unfortunately, you cannot you cannot apply for a Global Talent Visa. You can apply, but probably it won't be a really successful application, because having a public profile, one of the mandatory criteria for the Global Talent Visa. I will tell you about it shortly. It's really not a big of a deal, and you can upgrade your public profile from 0 to an appropriate level in several months, and it's not, as I said, it's not a problem. It's no brainer, and I'm pretty sure that most of you can do it seamlessly. So yeah, and PhD in computer science, actually it's not obligatory, but it's like in this slide we have kind of a ideal applicant, so we put it here also. And about documents, of course, The idea of Global Talent Visa is to create documents that would prove that you're eligible for the visa. Probably I would compare this process with creating documents for for university scholarship. Probably it would be one of the best comparisons here. When you do your documents for the university scholarship, you need to prove that you are cool enough, you are outstanding enough to get this scholarship. And yes, Global Talent Visa is quite the same case here. So across all the documents, you need to constantly prove and show that you are cool enough to get this visa, that you are outstanding enough to get this visa, talented enough. And please don't try to put the imposter syndrome on yourself again. I know how it feels. I've been on your side, and it's not the most comforting situation, but still you need to think about in which areas, in which projects you showed yourself the coolest way possible. So, and basically speaking, there is a personal statement. It's like a motivation letter as well. I think the comparison with the university scholarship works here. So CV, as I said, pretty regular. I think all of you have it. And the reference letters, as I said, and 10 pieces of evidence. It's like supporting docs. You need to show, you need to provide to additionally prove your eligibility for the visa. And we will just talk about these documents right now. So about supporting docs, about supporting documents. Usually people use these kind of docs. It's like language certificates. As we all already know, you don't need this doc. Reference from ineligible referees. Also, you need to understand that your referee needs to be a little bit like at least one level higher than you in this corporate scheme. So it needs to be at least your manager or maybe your skip manager. And also like templated CVs. It's not the best way to prove your eligibility, to use like PDF downloaded from your LinkedIn account. It's not the best way possible. I will tell you about the better way just in one slide. And your education diplomas also wouldn't weigh you really much in terms of the Global Talent Visa. And in terms of our approach and our idea of documents for the Global Talent Visa, which I'm going to just share with you and hope that will help you, it's first of all eye-catching CV. So you need to create a CV that will depict you, that will distinct you among other applicants. So you need to show that you're really like vivid person, dynamic person. So putting some photos, putting some some links to your YouTube videos, to some lectures you held, or maybe something else. It won't be a bad idea actually. So also, of course, you need to, if you participate in conference as a speaker, you need to prove that by some letters of gratitude, by some acknowledgement letters. Also, you need to, if you have any awards from contests, you also need to show that, by just uploading some PDFs of these letters of gratitude, confirming that you received some kind of award. For instance, if you're a Kaggle's Grandmaster, you can use that as evidence of your your talent, of how cool you are. Also, it's any kind of reference letters, as I said, and any kind of evidences to emphasize your expertise. It could contain some of your financial docs to show that you're a well-paid specialist. Hence, you're a recognized specialist. You're visible for your management. They pay you a decent amount of salary. So why not? It's a good and probably one of the no-brainers in terms of the supporting docs. So financial docs could also be included. Any kind of docs, including your stock options agreement, also could be included, because if you are provided with stock options, it means that you are recognized by the management, and yada yada, as well as I said previously with the other financial docs. So your performance reviews also could be used here, because if you have a performance review with a grade like exceeds expectations or strongly exceeds expectations, it actually means that you are exceptional, that you are a talented person, and you can also use this as an evidence for the Global Talent Visa. And as well, as I said previously, if you struggle with your public profile, if you don't have it right now, if you understand that you need some help, you also can approach us, and we will think about any kind of we will come up with some plan for you to actually upgrade your public profile, and find some venues for you to speak at, give some lectures, or maybe mentor somebody. So we have quite a decent network of partners in this regard. So just approach us and we'll try to help you. And of course, criteria. The main idea of the visa is just to surpass 3 criteria, 1 mandatory and 2 optional criteria. So mandatory criteria is called recognition, and it means, basically it means you have a public profile. So you are a specialist deemed by the conference hosts or conference organizers. You are a specialist that is invited, I don't know, to some podcasts. Maybe you're a specialist that runs some open source projects with big number of contributors, big number of stars on GitHub, and any other metrics you can show. I don't know, maybe you run your own podcast or your own blog that is viewed by, I don't know, hundreds of people, and all these evidences could come in handy in terms of the mandatory criterion. And the optional criteria. Here we have 4 criteria to choose, and we need to choose only 2 out of them. So the first one, contribution criterion, is quite simple and straightforward. You need to show that you somehow impacted the development of your company. As I said previously, as an example to some previous subtopic, you don't need to show that your contribution impacted the whole company if we talk about big corp, but your contribution at least impacted your team, your product, your project, and you can show it by the metrics change. I don't know, could it be some internal performance metrics if you're a full stack engineer or backend engineer? It could be some business metrics if you are, I don't know, maybe front-end engineer, maybe you are some kind of business applicant, product manager, project manager, marketing specialist. So that's all in short. Innovation criterion is probably one of the most ambiguous criteria. So I have one more slide dedicated especially for this criteria. So we will talk about it later. And outside occupation criterion, it's mostly about your voluntary work outside your day-to-day job. So for instance, our friend Alex, let's get back to him. He works at Meta, and when he finishes his day-to-day job at Meta, he goes to to some organization like Women in Tech. Probably some of you have heard about it. So he goes to Women in Tech to teach some students so they can become new IT specialists, and therefore this our friend Alex, he constantly contributes to the development of the IT sphere in general. So that's the idea of this criterion. So you need to show that you somehow contributed to the IT community. by mentoring somebody in some organizational structure like Women in Tech, or by organizing some conferences, or organizing podcasts and blogs, or maybe attending some conferences as a speaker if the attendees rate at least 100 people. And academic contribution, it's not probably the most used criterion in terms of my own experience working with some clients, but still academic contribution could be used if you are, for instance, I don't know, data scientist, and you don't have this much of, of contribution to some product. You're more like a researcher, and this still can be applied for the Global Talent Visa. So you need to show that your contributions in terms of scientific, academic development of your sphere, for instance, data science, it's really variable. You can show it by some letters of gratitude from your academic peers. You can show it by some letters of gratitude from some conference organizers who organized like a scientific conference you attended as a speaker, and so on. So, and about innovation criterion. I know, and I've heard a lot that you were quite interested in this idea and this criterion. So let me break it down to you in some simple terms. So first of all, to show this innovation criterion, to prove that you have some innovation in your background, in your projects, you need to understand several things. First, you need to show novelty. Innovation is something novel, it's something new. So basically speaking, you don't need to show that some product you created is novel for the world itself. If it's at least novel for your team, for your company, for some sector of economy you work at, it would be still a proof of innovation, and it would be still a good explanation and evidence to meet these criteria. Also, you need to remember that innovation criteria always comes with this motto: innovation means market traction and market validation. So you need to show that if you claim some of your projects or some of your ideas innovative, you need to show that they impacted the metrics of the product. Even if it would be not business-like metrics, it would be some performance metrics, some technical metrics. You need to show that these metrics are impacted by your innovative decision. Even though this decision could be innovative and novel only for your team or only for your company, it still would do. And of course, first and second bullet, you need to put inside of your reference letters, and inside of your CV and personal statement, because these documents should contain this wording about innovativeness of your products, about your impact, about your, for instance, I don't know, outside occupation activities. You need to put these projects and these claims inside your documents. And of course, we need to. I need to tell you shortly about the other thing. Even if you created a case, there still could be a chance for rejection. Only 5% of our clients gets rejection, but still there is some statistics, and I cannot, I cannot lie to you. I would lie to you if I say that there is a 100% chance that you get a Global Talent Visa. No, there is not. You can increase this chance, but you cannot get a 100% for sure. So you need to take into account that there could be a rejection, but it's not a problem, because first of all, you can appeal this decision, and next of all, even if your appeal is refused also, it doesn't mean that you are banned from getting a Global Talent Visa. You can reapply for this visa as many times you want. So I think it's worth giving a try at least. It's worth giving a thing at least. So, and about writing an appeal, of course, we also developed some kind of a strategy for this. And probably the best piece of advice I could give to you is that you need to counter argument all the arguments you find in the rejection letter, and by creating counter arguments, you need to base these counter arguments on the visa guide itself, first of all, and ambiguity of this visa guide, because the visa guide is quite ambiguous, and you need to use it like a lawyer. They usually use this kind of approach when interpreting some legal documents. So you need to interpret these documents in your way, in your to your right, to your side. So that's probably the best piece of advice I could give here. And also, don't forget that TechNation caseworkers who assess your application, they also do mistakes, and these mistakes could be highlighted in your appeal also. For instance, we could see the first reasons for rejection. Salary level, it's an indicator of the market demand, not of exceptional abilities. But on the other hand, we can counter-argue it. The guide of TechNation basically states salary certificates can be included in supporting documents as a proof. So we can prove the way that we are exceptional by salary documents, and it showed in the visa guide itself. So this strategy, look through the rejection letter for mistakes made by TechNation caseworker, and interpret points of visa guide for your side is probably two best points of advice I can give to you, and it really works, as we could have seen with many of our clients. And probably the last question in terms of this part, it's how much is the Global Talent Visa? So when we talk about Global Talent Visa, it costs for a 3-year visa for an individual something about £2,495. And if we talk about 3-year visa for a full family of 2 grown-ups and 2 children, it comes nearly to £10,000. I think you need to know that. First of all, you don't need to pay all this amount of money right away. Only when you get accepted for the Global Talent Visa, you get endorsed for the Global Talent Visa. Only after that, you need to pay a visa fee, a health surcharge. And when we talk about health surcharge, I think you've known about that because you're already in the UK. So you need to pay around about £624 per year. And the amount of money you pay comes along with the amount of years you want to apply for the visa. Because there is one more, probably, just general tip for you in terms of Global Talent Visa. If you are in the UK already, you can apply for a visa for probably maybe 2 years, and then you can get an ILR. So for instance, if you're already in the UK and you've worked on the skilled worker visa for a year already, you can apply for a Global Talent Visa and get it only for 2 years, because after these 2 years you can get an ILR and just save some money, save at least £624. So some of my clients just use this loophole to save some money, because they've already calculated their time to get an ILR. So why do they need to pay more? So that's the idea. And of course, how long does it take? Well, case preparation itself, in terms of our work, in terms of the processes at our side, if you do your case yourself, you're the boss. You can do it maybe faster, maybe quicker, maybe not. But we do it. Our case preparation process takes up to 3 months. It comes from the fetching all the info about you, creating all the documents you need, and then upload them and submit them for the technician. Then technician assesses your application within 2 months. Usually it takes a month and a half. And then when you get endorsed, you need to apply to Home Office for the visa, for the BRP. So if you are already in the UK, it would take up to 3 weeks. If you are outside the UK, it would take up to 2 months. As I said, Global Talent Visa, it's not nearly the priciest solution on the market. So probably it's quite a bargain, actually, in terms of all these benefits you could get with the Global Talent Visa. And a little bit about us. So my name is Nikita, and I'm the head of talent of Immigram, and we have been working with the Global Talent Visa applicants since 2019. Oh my God, how many years do we do that? We do for turnkey solution for our clients, and start from initial assessment of their case, and all work on the documents also is on our side. And then we apply for endorsement and also provide post-relocation assistance. Maybe you've heard about us also because our previous announcement on Product Hunt, because just last week we announced our self-service platform, which we have been creating for the last year, and there you can also use our expertise, but in more self-service way. So that's about us. That's about our platform. You can use it either if you apply for a full service program or apply for a self-service, which is already available on Product Hunt. So if you can support us here, support us there. We have already grown to the first place in the travel category and the digital nomad category. So I think it's quite a success for us. So I'm pretty happy about it. And of course, if you become interested about our services, about our product, if you want to get to know more about the Global Talent Visa route and about your eligibility for the Global Talent Visa, you can book a free consultation just scanning this QR code, or just going through the link I will send you to the chat right away. Just let me put it here. Yeah, here we go. So you can use this link. You can just scan the QR code, and of course, because we were really happy to actually prepare this webinar for you guys. You will get a 10% discount for our full service solution. You just need to tell the consultant when you will be talking with them that you are from the Meta webinar. So that's probably it. I hope that I proactively answered some of your questions. And now I will just come to the Q&A part and answer all of your questions. So I will start from the bottom, from the earliest ones. So Yatharth asks, how long does it take to change employees on the skilled worker visa, and what does the process look like? Well, I can't say for sure, Yatharth, how long does it take to change employers, because it means it's more about a labor market and how much time you would need to find a new employer. But if you ask specifically about the time you need to do all the immigration stuff, it's not really long enough. But you need to remember that you have only 3 months before your skilled worker visa expires when you actually leave your employer. So you have 90 days, and after that your visa expires. So you need to find an employer in this during this period. Another question from Yatharth. Even several questions from Yatharth. Can software development managers who manage engineering teams apply for this visa? Which category could they be part of? As I said, of course you can. Of course you can. You are a business applicant because you manage engineering teams. If you have had some engineering experience before, you can even apply for as a technical applicant. It's not, there's no much difference in terms of application structure for such specialists. And probably the best way to know that is just to get your CV, and probably we will come up with some idea how to structure your case perfectly so you can get a global talent visa. But a simple question, yes, you can apply. As I said, no problem at all. And another question from Yatharth, as I said, for the metrics showing contribution, they need to be publicly published metrics by the company, and examples you could share. Okay, first of all, they don't need to be publicly published if you work not in a publicly traded company. So your metrics company might not disclose some of the metrics. You can provide it just because you asked your CEO or your co-founder to give these metrics. Also, even if these metrics are quite internal and they're not publicly exposed because they're not interesting, for instance, you can still use them because Technation is under a confidentiality law, and they cannot share any kind of information you provide them with to anybody. They just assess it, and then they just hold this information for probably 12 years because this is the period regarding UK confidentiality law. Beg your pardon. So, yeah, and of course, we're also under NDA compliance. So if you decide to start working with us, you will just enter the safety space where you can share your emotions, your background, your stories, and they will not come out anywhere because, as I said, your information and confidentiality of your information is like cornerstone of our company. So next thing, next question is from Vidur Jain. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Sorry if I'm not. What type of public profile is required? Is LinkedIn enough? No, unfortunately, LinkedIn is not enough. You need to show something more. At least you need to show several appearances, like at conferences, if we talk about exceptional promise visa, because, of course, I forgot to tell you the main difference between exceptional promise and talent. So if you go for exceptional promise, you can apply for exceptional promise only if you are at early stages of your career at digital tech. So early stages meaning less than 5 years of work experience in digital tech. And if you have more than 5 years of experience in digital tech, you can apply only for an exceptional talent visa. So yes, if you apply for exceptional promise visa, you don't need to show some, 5 or 6 conferences you attended as a speaker. You can show maybe 2 or 3 conferences and maybe 1 or 2 articles you wrote about some of your products, or maybe you've been interviewed about some of your products or projects, and so on. So something like this you need to show, and still it's really no problem at all if you have the courage and passion and commitment to actually determination to get a global talent visa. Find some platforms or venues to attend as a speaker, no problem. Yatharth asks another question. Can Google Scholar profile with research, conference publications, and patent service an adequate public profile? it would be used as a part of public profile, but it won't fulfill this criteria. You need to have something else. So I don't know. For instance, if you have conference and patent, maybe several patents, it's amazing, because patents we could use also in innovation criterion, because patent, it's like the utmost like straightforward and clear proof of innovation. It's like formalized, legally binding proof of innovation. So but you need to have something else. You need to at least, I don't know, have some conferences attended as a speaker. You need to some podcasts to attend, or something else, because only by, I don't know, one scientific conference and 2 patents, you cannot fulfill a global talent criteria in terms of public profile. George asks also, is there a maximum of reference letters? How much is too much? Well, I can say from my own experience leading like 100 plus cases and leading them to the endorsement, I can say for sure that the bare minimum of the references is 4, not 3. I wouldn't recommend using only 3 references, but probably the top, the maximum of the references is not really higher. It's like 5 references at all. So I wouldn't recommend you just, create like 10 references and just upload all of them. Better option would be use like 4 or 5 references and also upload some additional docs. As I said, financial docs, performance reviews, some letters of gratitude from the conferences. I don't know, some screenshots from your, from some of the open source projects you have been committing to, or maybe you created. These documents would serve better instead of just using like tens of the references. And Vidurjain also asks, regarding profile slide, are all of these required for a particular criteria or for all criteria? Let me see. I don't perfectly remember profile slide. Let me see. I think you mean about this one. Yeah, probably about this one. These docs actually, this bunch of docs, they can be used in every criteria. So it's not only for the for the public profile. For instance, if we talk about some references, it's not really about public profile. It's more about contribution criterion. It's more about innovation criterion in some cases. So it's not only about public profile at all. Well, yeah, and one of the tricky things about Global Talent Visa, you need to know which document would serve better in proving one criterion, and which document would serve better proving another criterion, because you don't need to put each and every document to as a evidence for each and every criterion. You need to decide whether it's better for the recognition criterion or for the contribution criterion. Peter Jain also asks, evidences of contribution. How do you share your code contribution documents if this is your past company? Also, NDA doesn't allow sharing company documents. Yes, as I said, we and Tech Nation is an organization that processes and that assesses your applications. We are all NDA compliant, so you can provide some of the documents to us if you feel so. If you don't feel so, well, we need to find another path to show these metrics. So I have many of my clients, like big bunch of my clients, who used to work at Meta or who still working at Meta, and they provided us with some of the even a bit sensitive information, because it would be used only to assess your eligibility for the Global Talent Visa, and it will not come out anywhere else, because we guarantee it as a partner, and the Technation guarantees it because well, they are obliged to do that by the UK law. Yeah, and answering the first part of the question about the past company, if this is your past company, still you would have some of the docs. You can ask some of your past colleagues about some metrics. So usually we are we're striving to find some ways to get these metrics, because without them it would be really hard to get a visa. And Vidar Jain also asks one more question. Evidences of innovation. Would reference letter be sufficient, as it's not possible to show revenue sheets? You don't need to show revenue sheets. You need to show at least some kind of metrics, that could show that your project was successful. Even if your project indirectly impacts revenues and other business metrics, maybe it impacts some technical metrics, and maybe some of those metrics you could provide Technation with, and therefore show that your project was successful. I think just reference letter, it could be sufficient for the innovation criterion, but only if you include some metrics, some numerical evidence inside of this reference letter. For instance, I've known John for several years. He's a wonderful software developer. He once came up with the outstanding solution to create this, like, I don't know, to make our website not break down when it's like 10,000 users on it, and it impacted our company's stability, and I don't know, we were able to attract more investors to fund our project, for instance. So you need to show at least some kind of a metrics. Maybe for here we can see 10,000 users, and here we can see at least 10,000 users, and this contribution to the funding, to the new funding round, to the attraction of funds, and if you can even, I don't know, tell what amount of funds you attracted, it could be really useful also. And Evgeny also asks, is there any age requirements for evidences? Yeah, I understood your question. So yes, there is a time period, limited time period you need to meet to actually have this document eligible for the visa. So first of all, the time limit is 5 years. Thank you, Vidar Jain, and see you soon. I hope to see you soon. And getting back to the question, the limit for the document to be eligible is 5 years. So it comes to all the documents. If we talk about your public profile achievements, so maybe you attended any conference as a speaker in, I don't know, 2015, and it won't be eligible, unfortunately, because it's way farther than 5 years limit. So, and it also comes with to your employment history. So basically, we would take into account only your contributions in projects within 5 years time period. So yeah, if you asked about this age requirement, yes, there is like some limited time of the docs to be eligible. So probably answered all the questions. Maybe you have some more questions, you can ask them right away. I will wait probably for a moment and just get back to the last slide. So if you I didn't have a chance to scan a QR code and get to our website to book a free consultation, you would be able to do so. Yeah, thank you, Atharth, for your questions, and good luck with your any kinds of aspirations. I hope you will be successful. Thank you, Evgeny, for your question, and have a nice evening. Okay, probably the Q&A session is also over. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really grateful that I can tell you about the Global Talent Visa, because I'm pretty sure that you are talented enough and successful enough to get this visa and live in the world without boundaries at all. I think you deserve it. Thank you so much again, and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.